Hello everyone. In the part 1 of this series, I was able to show you how you can connect to the Redfin data source wherein we extracted real estate data, okay, and then we got the raw file, we loaded that into S3 buckets, which is our raw data. We also transformed the data wherein we remove some NA, and also we removed some columns. Basically, we selected some few columns that we are interested in, and then we saved the CSV file inside our S3 bucket. Okay, all this we use Airflow that is installed in our EC2 instance to automate the process. Okay, if you have not watched that, please go ahead and watch that right now. I will put the link to that in the description below. Okay, now for today, the next thing we want to do right now is that we want to take the data that is now inside this transform data. We want to load that in our Snowflake and then do a data visualization on top of the data. Okay, but then we don't want to manually copy this data into Snowflake. We don't want to be, going and, running our copy command each time the data gets inside there. But what we want is that we want a situation whereby when we run our Airflow, which I showed you, which we did in part 1, right? We add this, right, and this runs successfully, and then when it runs successfully, we add the data inside this bucket. So immediately it got inside this bucket. What is the next thing we want it to do? What we want it to do is that we want it to trigger this Snowpipe, so that the Snowpipe will then automatically run the copy command for us, so as to copy the data from this bucket, the transform data bucket, into Snowflake. I hope you guys get that right now. So what that means right now is you need to go right now and sign up for a Snowflake account if you don't have that right now. For me, I already have that. Okay, and also I've also showed you a video previously of how you can sign up. So if you go to this video right here, okay, I said how to build a pipeline to create table and insert records on Snowflake, okay, with Airflow. So if you go to this video, I'm going to put the link to this video in the description. I showed you how you can create an account on Snowflake, a free trial, a 30-day free trial. Even I am using the free trial. Okay, so I'll say go ahead and watch this video to see how you can create a Snowflake account and then you sign in. Okay, take note, I've already showed you, and we are using AWS for this, so you have to select AWS. But take note, go through it and then follow what I did right here to create that Snowflake account. Okay, the cloud that we are using, the cloud service that we are using is AWS. So just do exactly what I did in this video for you to create that account. Okay, so in my own case, I already have the Snowflake account. I will bring it right here. Okay, so what you just need to do is come to this plus right here and then do SQL worksheet. Okay, so what I can do right now is let me close these different tabs to avoid any confusion. Okay, so this is the one I just created. This is the date and this is the time right here. So I can just put this one right here. I can say maybe I can call it maybe real estate scripts. You can call it real estate, you can call it Redfin, you can call it whatever you want. Then I'll press enter. Okay, So that is the script. So what I will do right here is I will just copy from what I have. I'll put it right here for you, and then I will do some explanation right here. Okay, so now what you can see right here is that there is no database that is selected right here. Also, there is no warehouse that is selected right here. If I click on this, you can see that there is a warehouse here, compute_wh extra small. Okay, so if I don't select any virtual warehouse, the system is going to select for me as I start to run my queries right here. Okay, you can decide to create a warehouse for yourself. Okay, if I come to this line 3, I can execute this query. I can say create warehouse. I can say Redfin warehouse, and then I can use this. But I don't want to do that in this video. I've done it in other videos for you. Take for example this particular video that I'm showing here, and also this video right here also where I'm using Snowflake. Okay, you can explore that, guys. Okay, so but in the case of this one, what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to drop the database if it exists. Maybe it exists already, or maybe you don't know, but just drop it is a good idea to just say, okay, I want to drop it before I start creating it again, right? Because if it's already existing and then you are trying to create it, then you might have an error. Okay, so I'll just say drop database if it exists. Okay, let me give it this name. Let me say Redfin_database_1. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so if I execute this, see what is going to happen, guys. If there is anything, you can say it says already dropped. Okay, and immediately we did that. See what happens. This compute, this virtual warehouse, like I said, moved this got assigned to it immediately, because you need a warehouse, a virtual warehouse, that's a compute for you to run different queries here, right? So this is the compute that you have been assigned. If you want to create yours, then that is when you create warehouse, right? And then you give it a name. Okay, so now that is done. Now we want to create the database. This is the name we are giving it. You can see right here that there is no database selected. Okay, because we have not selected which database we want. So I can create database right here, Redfin_database_1. I will execute. You see that is created. If you want to close the results, you can just come right here and say close results. Okay, so now you see that immediately we did that, Redfin_database_1 showed up right here. Okay, and if I refresh this place, you can see now we have Redfin_database_1. You can see that we only have information schema and public schema right there, and that is why this shows public. If I click this, you can see Redfin_database_1, and public is what is showing. However, I want us to create our own schema, so I will say create schema, Redfin schema. That's Redfin_schema. I will execute. That is done. Close the result. If I refresh, if you want to see it, you can see this is the Redfin schema, and also you can see this automatically got assigned right here, Redfin_database_1. that is the database, then Redfin_schema, that's the schema, and you can see that it is also selected right here. Okay, now you can see how this is working. Remember, our main aim is to do what? Is to take this data from this S3 inside this Snowflake. Okay, but we need to create table inside this Snowflake first. Okay, now we want to create the table. We've already created the schema, so we need to create table. I don't need this truncate, so let me take that one out. Okay, so now I'm going to say create or replace table. This is the table, this is the database. So because we are in this database and this schema, we can just only specify, we can decide to only specify the name of this table like this. Okay, and that will be fine. but it's a good practice for you to put the database name, the schema, and then the table, so that you don't have to bother about what you have right here. Okay, and in this case, the name of our database is, it has _1, so let us put that. Okay, so create or replace table, Redfin _database _1. You can use any name that you want. Okay, I'm using _1 because previously I'd used Redfin _database when I was preparing for this video. That I didn't want anything to interfere with anything right here, and that's why I'm using a different name. Okay, so now I'm going to have this. So these are the columns that we want, right? Because if you go back to that Jupyter notebook that I showed you guys in part 1, for those of you that have watched part 1, if you have not watched part 1, I encourage you to go back and watch part 1 right now before you continue with this part 2. These are the columns that we have, 28 columns. So all these columns now, we are then creating tables. We are then creating those columns inside this table, this Redfin _table, and then we are giving them data type. Okay, by that I'm sure if you are watching this video, you know SQL. Okay, these are just SQL that we are writing right here. Okay, so now we have created the schema. So inside this schema, inside this database, inside this schema, we want to create this table, Redfin _table. So I will highlight everything right here, and then I will execute. You can see successfully created. Very good. Close the result. Now we have created that. Okay, if you want to see, let us look at the table. Do we have anything right now in the table? We don't have it. We shouldn't be having any data, right? So if I execute, if I do a select star from that table, remember your database is Redfin _database _1, then I put limit 10, give me 10 rows. If I execute, you can see right here, guys, there is nothing. We don't have anything right now. Why? Because we don't have any results. Okay, now let's leave that count. Now the next thing also you also want to do is this. In Snowflake, you have to for you to move data from the S3 bucket into the Snowflake, you have to specify the file format. The format of that file you have to specify, and for you to specify, you have to create a format for that file. Okay, you have to specify that, okay, I'm creating an object, say a format object, and you have to specify what type is that, and that is what we want to do here. But before that, let us create a schema for our file format. So that means that if this is in your company, you might have a schema for all the different file formats, okay, that you're going to be using. So in this case, I will create schema file _format _schema. I will execute. Okay, that is done. I can come right here and just refresh. If I refresh, you can see we have the Redfin schema. Inside the Redfin schema, you have the table that we just created, right? Which that's the Redfin table, but we don't have data yet. And then we created file format schema. You can see the file format schema. It doesn't have any objects yet. Okay, now how do we create an object for this right here? Okay, I've also showed this in one of my other videos. Okay, there is a link to this. I think I don't have that link right here, but I will put that link in my description so that you guys can have access to it. Let me see if I have it somewhere. Okay, yeah, I think I have it right here. Let me copy and paste just for me to show you guys. Yeah, you can see when you are creating file formats, go through these links for you to better understand what's going on. Okay, if the type of file that we are creating, format we are creating is CSV, what are the different arguments that we could pass to it? Go through this link. I'll provide this link for you in the description below. Okay, so but basically what we are doing right here is that we are creating file formats, and we are calling it Redfin _database _1. You can see that is going to be inside. We are calling it rather format underscore CSV, right? But we want it to be inside this database we just created, and we want it to be inside this schema that we just created. Okay, so this is the format, the object name, format underscore CSV. What is the type? The type is CSV, because if you look at this right here, you have to, this is the syntax, you have to put the type. You see that? So if it is JSON, you have to say, if it is Avro, ORC, Parquet, XML, you have to put that. So if it is not CSV type, then these are the argument that you could, pass to it. Okay. So in the case of this one, I'm saying the type is CSV, because that is what we have in the S3 bucket. And if it is CSV, the field delimiter is what is a comma, right? That's what I'm putting right there. And I'm saying that the record delimiter is next line, right? So that means that every new row or every new record is the next line. Okay. And I'm also saying that you should skip header. Okay, skip header equals to 1. That means that the header is the first row. Skip that. Okay, very good. So now we already created the schema. We have our schema right here, file format schema, inside this database, Redfin underscore database underscore 1. So I will come right here now, and then I will run this. Very good. That is created. I can refresh. You can see this is the file format, format CSV. That's the name we gave it. So that means that we are trying to create an object wherein we are saying this object has a type CSV. So that means that by the time we want to load into our S3 bucket, we can tell our copy command that the data we want to load is CSV. So if you say that, then Snowflake will know what to do. Okay, very good. Now another thing you need to also understand about Snowflake is that you need to be able to point Snowflake to your S3 bucket. Okay, you need to point what? Snowflake to your S3 bucket. And for you to be able to do that in Snowflake, we use the concept of staging. Okay, so in this case, we are going to create an external stage, and then we will point that external stage to the S3 bucket. Basically, we want to integrate our external stage to the Amazon S3 bucket that we have. So we'll first of all create a schema here. And the reason I'm creating a schema right here is, we want to try and be making, we want to organize our things, because in the real world, we are going to be having a lot of staging. Okay, you're going to have a lot of staging that you're going to be doing, a lot of external stages, right? You're also going to be having different file format. So if you can create schema for file format, create schema for stages, then that way, you can easily, you know where to find things. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this. I will execute. So now I've executed. If I refresh this, now you can see now that we have external stage schema. So inside this external stage schema, I will then create my external stage. So I'll give my external stage this name, Redfin underscore ext. That's external underscore stage underscore YML. Okay, for you can use any name that you want, but this name is fine. So, and it needs to be, I want it to be inside this database. Let me put underscore 1, because that's the database we are using. Dot, I want it to be inside this schema that we just created, and then this is the name of the external stage. Remember, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to integrate our stage, our external stage, to our S3 bucket. Remember this S3 bucket where we add that data, that is this one right here. That's the transform data. Okay, so we want Snowflake to be able to point into that, so that we can be able to load data into Snowflake from this bucket. Okay, I hope you understand that now, guys. Okay, I'm trying to take some time to explain all this for you so that you really understand it. Okay, and if you want to create stage, there is also let me give you the documentation too. There is a documentation for that which you can go through, creating stage. Okay, In this case, you can create internal stage or external stage. You can see this internal stage, this external stage, you know, as the case may be. Okay, so here we are creating external stage, which points to our S3 bucket. However, we need to give permission, or basically give the credentials that will make our S3 bucket to be able to access that we're able to integrate, that we're able to help the Snowflake to integrate to the S3 bucket. Okay, so we'll say AWS key ID. Remember, that is your access key. Remember, we had the access key previously. Let us look for that right here. This is my access key. So I will come right here, and then I will put this, and then I will go again to my secret key, secret access key, and then I will come right here, and then I will paste that. Okay, and then the file format. Remember, if you look at this create command, it says file format. Remember what I said, you need to specify which file format are we talking about. What is the format of this file? Is this CSV or JSON or Avro or Parquet, you know, what have you, or ORC? So that is what we want to do right here. But instead of us just saying CSV directly, we need to put a file format object right there. You can see file format equals to file format name. What is our own file format name? The name we gave it was format underscore CSV. If you remember, inside this file format schema, file format underscore CSV. However, you need to be able to point it to the right place by saying the database. We know that the database is, let me put it right here, Redfin underscore database underscore 1. It is inside this schema, and then this is our format. So what this line is telling us is that we are saying that Snowflake get integrated to this S3 bucket. I am giving you these credentials, that is the access key and the secret access key. And also you are telling Snowflake that the data is a CSV. So if you tell Snowflake the data is a CSV, then Snowflake will know what to do. Okay, so now let us create that. Let me execute. You can see executed. Okay, we have been able to create that stage. Let us come to, let's refresh. If you want to see it, you know, you can see stages. You can see that's the stage that we just created. Very good. If you want to list your stages, you can come right here. You can say list at Redfin. That's the database name, the schema, and then the stage name. If I do this, I can just list my stages. If I execute, you can see this is one stage that I have right here, and you can see that this stage is connected to what? To this S3. You can see the S3 bucket is showing right now, and then this file that I have inside right now is showing. Can you see that now, guys? Okay, let me close this result. Now the next thing now is we want to create our Snowpipe. Okay, that is where we are going to now, guys. Okay, now what are we doing right here? If we are talking about Snowpipe, I have this. Let me show you this. So Snowpipe, I will also show you this. I'll also give you this link right here in the description below. Snowpipe enables loading data from files as soon as they are available in a stage. Okay, you see that we just created a stage right now, and that stage we pointed it to our S3 bucket because it is the S3 bucket. It is inside the S3 bucket right here that we are going to be having the file, right? And now we have pointed our Snowflake, we have integrated it to this S3 bucket, and we have given it our access key and secret key. We are saying, okay, do what we want it to do. We have given you the access. Okay, now but we need this Snowpipe. Okay, and this Snowpipe will enable loading from files as soon as they are available in a stage. This means you can load data from files in micro batches, making it available to users within minutes, rather than, look at it, rather than manually executing copy statements on a schedule to load larger batches. So what we are saying right now is that now that we have our data inside this bucket, instead of us to be writing a copy command statement and be doing that manually every time for us to load data into Snowflake, now we don't have to do that. Snowpipe will help us to do that, because immediately the file gets here, it's going to trigger Snowpipe, and Snowpipe will then run the copy command that will help to load the data inside here. Okay, one thing that some folks might want to use is Lambda. You know, if we want to use, we can use a AWS Lambda function. But in this case, because we already have, because Snowflake already gave us a feature called Snowpipe, right? So we can just use this since we are not doing any transformation, right? Just use this right here. Okay, so now what are we going to do? See what this says. It says the data is loaded according to the copy statements defined in a referenced pipe. Okay, so what that means is that we are going to create our pipe objects, and then we are going to give it a copy statement that it needs to follow. Okay, now let us do that, guys. I hope you guys understand that. Okay, so the first thing I want to create right here is I want to create a schema for our Snowpipe. So again, we're just trying to be organized right here. Okay, Redfin _ database _1. So I would run this. Take note, guys, I will also give you this code right here in a text file in my GitHub. Okay, I'll give you that. So just go to my GitHub and you can clone it or fork it or do whatever thing, or copy anyhow you want it. So let me execute this right here. Very good, guys. Now we have created the Snowflake the Snowpipe schema. Close this, and then now what we want to do now is to create pipe. Okay, guys, before we go ahead, if you are new on this channel, please go ahead right now and subscribe to our channel. Okay, we have a lot of videos that we have, on building different data engineering project right here. So please go ahead and subscribe right now and click on the bell so that you can be notified whenever we release any of our videos. And do not forget to click that like button right now. Click that like button if you are finding these videos valuable, because the more you click that like button, the better we can be ranked by the YouTube algorithm. And also share this with your friends, with your co-workers, with your teammates, with your family members that wants to transition into data engineering, or maybe they are even in data engineering right now, but they need to learn one or two things also from us, so that you can upskill your skill, or you can upskill yourself. Okay, very good, guys. Now let us come back right here. Now we have created the schema. The next thing we want to do is we want to create the pipe. Okay, don't let us forget our database right there. Okay, now we want to create the pipe. We have created the schema. Let me refresh this. Let me refresh that. You can see right here, guys, Snowpipe schema. Okay, right now no object found. We don't have anything right there. Okay, so now let us create that pipe. Let me give you a link to that, which I'll also put in the description below of what it is. The create pipe command. You can see create or replace pipe if not exists. So auto ingest, do you want it to ingest it automatically? And error integration, AWS SNS topic integration comment. This as is the copy statement that we are talking about right there. You are going to see it right now. Okay, so now I'm saying create or replace pipe. Then I'm saying this is the name of my Snowpipe, Redfin _Snowpipe, but it needs to be inside this database and also inside this schema. Then auto ingest, I'm saying true. Okay, then I'm saying as copy into Redfin database _1. So I'm saying now copy into this database schema table. You can see this table from this stage. Remember that we created that stage, and we said that the stage is pointing to that S3 bucket, okay, because that stage has access to that S3 bucket. So this is going to copy into this table from this stage, okay. But before we create this pipe and run it, let us try to just use the copy command first to just see if we can manually, using this copy command, to at least move data from the S3 bucket, from this S3 bucket into our Snowflake, okay. Remember that we want to see if we can do this manually. However, in production setting, we are not going to be doing that manually. We are going to be using our pipe, okay, and that is what we want to do here. But let us first of all see if we can do this, okay. But before that, let us see if we have data in our table again. So if I run this select command, if I run this, you can see we don't have anything right now, okay. We don't have anything in our table, so I will close this result. Now let us do this copy command. Let's see if we can load the data inside our S3. Remember, we have the data inside our S3 already. This is the S3. We have this data, right? So now let us see if we can load it. If we can load it successfully, then we can create that pipe. If not, if we have errors, we'll take a look and we will debug, okay. So let me execute. Okay, you see it's running, so it's doing something. Okay, let it continue to run. Let it finish running. Okay, let it finish running. Yeah, so basically what we are doing right here is we are just verifying if our copy command is working before we eventually put the copy command inside our Snowpipe objects. Okay, so it's executing. That tells me that it's running. And remember that our data set is heavy, so let it continue, let it complete. Okay, very good. You can see that this has ended, and you can see the number of rows is what? 3932161. You can see, if you remember, if you go back to your Airflow to check the rows inside this transformation, go to logs, you can see the rows right there. 393, let me make it bigger. You can see 3932161, 3932161, right, which is this 3932161. You can see that. You can see now that we have been able to successfully load the data. If you want, you can run select star and do limit 10. Let us see. You can see we have limit 10 right here. How many rows do we have? We've already seen that. Okay, if you want, you can just run your count. You can run your count command right here. If you really want to check that, you can see 3922161. You can see that. Very good, guys. Now that we know that our copy command is working, so now we want to wrap the copy command right inside the Snowpipe that we want to create, so the Snowpipe object, so that this can be done automatically. Okay, so let me run this right now to create the Snowpipe object. Execute. You can see it is created. If I refresh this, you can see now Snowpipe schema now has pipes. Inside this pipe, I have the Redfin Snowpipe. Okay, so what that means now is that this Snowpipe will be able to run this copy command for us automatically. Okay, very good. However, we still need to tell AWS to trigger this Snowpipe. Remember, if you look at our configuration right here, we said that when the data lands here, it should then trigger that the event that is happening right here should trigger this Snowpipe, so that this Snowpipe can then run the copy command right to then be able to load inside Snowflake. Okay, so let us do that now, guys. Okay, so now that we have our Snowpipe, so what we can then do right now, you can say DES described pipe Redfin _database_1, you know, our Snowpipe right here. Let us say describe, execute. Now you can see that we have this our Redfin database name, schema name, definition, right? That's the copy command is going to be executing. And then the owner, account admin, you can see this is the owner right here, account admin. Then there is something that is important here, notification channel. Notification channel, you can see it has an ARN link right here. Okay, AWS, SQS, US, and all of this. So it has generated these lines for us right here. Okay, so because it has generated this for this notification, so what we want to do is that we will now go back to our S3 bucket. Remember this S3 bucket, let me refresh. This S3 bucket where we want the file to land. Thereafter, I want Snowpipe to get triggered and grab the file and then load into Snowflake. So we want to come and do some configuration right here. So go to Properties tab. Okay, Properties tab, and then you need to come right here to Event Notification. So we want to say that if this event happens, then do this. Okay, so we'll come right here, create event notification. Okay, and then let us give our event a name. I can just give it this name. I will do a copy and paste right here. And then if the event is going to happen in a particular folder, or maybe it has a particular file format that you want, maybe does JPG or does CSV, you can also put those optionally. But in this case, I don't think there is any need because we did not create folder. We have our file inside that bucket directly. So this is fine. And then what event type are we talking about right here? You can say put comma, you can check this, or if it is post, or if it is copy, or it is, you know, any of these. Okay, but for this case I will just put all object create events. So that means all object create events. I will select that. Like I said, you can optionally click one or two of these. Take for example, you can only say for this one you can just say put. Okay, but I like to just select all of this. Okay, so now come down right here, and if you take a look at this, what is the destination? Lambda function, SNS topic, or SQS queue? Okay, in the case of this one, we are going to be selecting SQS queue. SQS, that's the Amazon Simple Queue Service. Okay, that's the Simple Queue Service. That's Amazon Simple Queue Service. How do we know that? If you come right here, you can see that what we have in this channel, this link has SQS. Okay, so that is what we want to do. So if I click on this and I do Control C, let me copy this link right here. Okay, or maybe this alphanumeric or this code right here, you know, let me just copy that, and then I can come back right here. I select SQS queue, then I can say enter SQS queue ARN, because we cannot choose from any SQS queue because we don't have any. We have not created one before. So I will say enter. I will check enter, then I will paste what I have right there. So what is basically happening is that when we have this new event happening, this file entering this S3 bucket, okay, then some notification is going to be sent, okay, to this destination. And we know that this destination is integrated with our Snowpipe, right? And that will trigger our Snowpipe to then run, and then the Snowpipe will run the copy command to load the data inside our Snowflake table. Okay, so I will do save changes right here. I will save it. Very good. So that is that. One thing we also need to quickly do before we try everything now is that let us truncate our table. Remember, we have our table, it already has data, but let us truncate it and, you know, run this process again. Okay, so I will come right here. And then I will truncate this table. My database is this. I will truncate this table, and then this is, I will execute. Okay, it has executed. If you want to check, you can maybe just say, just run this again to see if there is anything inside. You see, there is no data. We have truncated this. If you also want, you might, if you also want, you can maybe go to your bucket and, you know, delete what you have in that bucket and let us run the Airflow again. But I don't think that is necessary. I don't think that is necessary. Okay, so what we can do is we can come right here. Let me do this very well. Okay, let's come back right here and let us trigger this again. Okay, let us trigger this again. Like I said, if we like, we can delete the CSV file, but yeah, let's leave it and let's see what happens. Okay, let us trigger this again. So if we trigger it, what should happen is that the extraction should occur. That means connecting to Redfin extract, then load to raw data, then we do transformation, load the transform data inside there. Immediately we load the transform data inside there. That should trigger our Snowpipe. Okay, and the Snowpipe should then run a copy command that will load the data inside our Snowflake. Okay, you guys ready for that? Let's see. If there is an error, then we'll take a look and then we'll debug it. Okay, so let me come out of this because I don't see the trigger button right there. Let me come out of this and go back in. Fingers crossed, hopefully everything works fine. Let me trigger DAG. Okay, you can see now it's in queue. I will click that, go to graph, and then it's going to be running. Okay, and then we are going to leave this to run for some time. But before that, guys, again, if you are finding this valuable, please go and subscribe right now to our channel. Click on the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we release any of our videos. And don't forget to comment, put your comment in the comment section. And if you have any question for us, please go right there and put it. Or if you have any sort of video that you want us to make for you, also go right there and put it. And don't forget to click that like button. That is very, very important, guys. Click that like button and share this among your friends, within your teammates and your family and co-workers that are interested in data engineering or even in machine learning engineering. Okay, so now, as you guys know, this is going to take about 5 minutes or so to run the extract and about 2 minutes to run transform, you know. So let me pause this and then I will come back when everything is done, and then we will run our select statement in our Snowflake, just to be able to validate that our Snowpipe is running correctly. Okay, after we are able to do that, then we can connect PowerBi to this. Okay, all right, guys, I'll see you later. Very good, very good. Now, guys, you can see that this has finished running. We were able to extract data from the Redfin. We did transformation and then we loaded. Okay, very good, guys, very good. So that means that we have been able to, you know, do this part, extract, put in this raw data, and then transformed it and put it inside this transformed bucket. Okay, now let us see if this part also runs successfully. Okay, remember we are automating this process, and that is why we are not using the copy command manually, but rather it is wrapped inside a Snowpipe. Okay, very good. Now let us take a look at our Snowflake database. Let us go right there. Let us go right there. I will close this. Okay, so now what we can do is let us run our Snowflake, let us do a select statement right now and say from database _1, this is our table. We are hoping that it should have what? It should have uploaded the data. Let us see, guys. Let's do a limit of 10. Let us execute. You can see very well. Good. You can see now we are able to have data. We have data right here, guys. Remember we truncated the data before. We did not have data when we ran it the last time before we started running it. Okay, let us see how many. What was the count that we have right here? Let us execute. You can see 3932161, exactly what we also had previously. As a matter of fact, what we had in, let's look at our transform. Let's go to logs. You can see the number right here, exactly that same number. Okay, take note, if you want to do more transformation in your own case, yes, you can go ahead to do that, but I try to only do, you know, a very simple transformation right here, guys. Now guys, this is an interesting project. Now you guys now can see that we have been able to cover all of this right here. We have been able to automate all of this just by running our Airflow that is inside our EC2. We're able to connect to real estate data, which is the Redfin data source. We did extraction, we did transformation, and we loaded. Ultimately, we loaded into Snowflake database using Snowpipe. Okay, so that means that if we are running this weekly, that means for every week, for every new data that comes in, right, that new data that enters this bucket, okay, is going to be a new event. Okay, so when you have new data enters here, that's going to be a new event. So that new event is going to trigger Snowpipe, and Snowpipe is going to get that particular data and load it inside Snowflake. I hope you guys get this now. You see that all this we have been able to do on AWS cloud. Okay, in another video, because this data is heavy, I'm going to be exploring using AWS EMR, Elastic MapReduce, so that we can write PySpark. We can use PySpark, you know, to write this code right here. Okay, very good, guys. Now the next thing we want to do is let us connect PowerBi to our Snowflake right here. Okay, let us connect PowerBi. So in another video, I showed you guys how you can connect Redshift to AWS QuickSight, and also connecting Redshift to PowerBi. Let us try to look for the video. Okay, you can see this one right here. I connected Redshift with QuickSight right here. If you have not watched this video, I encourage you to go do that right now. And also in another video, I connected PowerBi to Redshift. If you have also not watched this, I encourage you to quickly go and do that. Okay, however, in today's video, we are going to be connecting PowerBi to our Snowflake so that we can, you know, do some few visualizations, you know, with this data. Take note, the essence of this video is not to delve deep into the visualization. I want to just, you know, draw the pipeline for you, and so that we can actualize this pipeline using Snowpipe to automate the loading of data from S3 to Snowflake. Now we have been able to do that. Now let us open PowerBi and connect to our Snowflake and see if we can be able to do some few visualizations. Okay, let us do that now, guys. Let me open up my PowerBi. Okay, yeah, very good. I've opened up my PowerBi. Now it is right here, so I will close this and then I'll come to get data. So now I want to connect my PowerBi to my Snowflake server. So I'll come right here to more. I'll come right here. Then you can maybe just search for Snowflake. You can just type Snowflake, and then if you don't want to type, you can just come to database, click database, and then you can look for Snowflake right here. You can see that right here. Okay, so I'll click that. However, it's easier to just type. So I'll click Snowflake, connect. Okay, now for you now to type in, your server name, okay? Server name. You can see it's giving you an example right here. But how do you get your server name? Okay, you can see saying example kotoso.snowflakecomputing.com. So for me to get my own Snowflake server, I will come right here. Okay, I would come right to this worksheet. Let me just click this worksheet so I can come out of this, so I can come to my home page right here. Okay, to my home view. I will come right here, and then I'll put my cursor here. Then I can come right here, copy account URL. I will copy that, and then I'll open my Notepad. You can see this is what I have right here. You can see that is what this is also saying. Say example kotoso.snowflakecomputing.com. You can see that is what I'm having right here. This snowflakecomputing.com. okay, so I will copy this, and then I'll put that right here. Okay, but then I will take, because if you take a look at this, let me come back right there, you can see there is no HTTP right there. So I will come right here and I will take out this HTTPS. Okay, I think that should be good. Let's see. Then the warehouse, what warehouse are we using? Okay, if you come right here, you remember that if you come to this real estate script that we were using, if I click that, you remember that we were using compute_WH, compute_WH, right? So I will just copy that. I will just copy that, and then I'll put that right here. Let's see what we have in advanced options. Specify a text value to use as a role name. Okay, we don't have role name. All these are optional. Timeout, include relationship columns. Okay, database. Okay, I think this should be good. Let us click OK. Let's see what we get. If we get an error, then we'll debug. So let's say OK. Okay, now he's asking me, you can see he's trying to connect, but he's asking me for my username and my password. Remember your username when you just signed up for the Snowflake account. Just remember that. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to enter my username and my password now. So my username is this. My password is this. I will connect. Let's see. It's trying to connect. Oh, very good. You can see now that it's connected. Remember that on our Snowflake, we only have 3 databases: this one, and this one. And that is the same thing we are seeing also right here. You can see that. However, this is the one we are interested in, Redfin database _1. Let's put that. And the one where our data is what we need. Our data is in Redfin schema. So let's open that. And this is our data. This is our table, Redfin table. Check that. So preview is evaluating. You can see that, guys. You can see that. Okay, very good. If you want to do any transformation right here, you can also decide to do any transformation. Remember what I said, that we don't really want to dig too much into this, but you can play around with this and see what you get. So I can say load. Then I can just say import. I can say import. You see, it's trying to import the data and all of that. So after that's done, we should be able to see the table right here, and basically the different columns. So let that finish loading right there. You can see it's loading all the rows right now. You can see it's loading all the rows. Now we're at 1 million right now. Take note, just play around with the data set yourself. Okay, yeah, I'm not particular about anything right now, but I just want you to see how we can build a pipeline like this using a pipeline as we have done, and using Airflow. Basically, I just want us to see how we can build a pipeline, okay, and using Snowpipe, okay, to to help to load the data from S3 into Snowflake and then build a visualization on top of that, and using Airflow to automate the process on EC2. You can see now we have this right here. You can see right here, guys, we have all the different columns right now. Okay, so you can just play around with stuff. Let's say you want to look at, you know, the inventory that Redfin carries, right? Maybe you can try a column, you know, start column chart right here. Okay, let's say we want to do our let's say inventory. Okay, let's say inventory. Let's say we put inventory right here. We put inventory right here. We see the sum of our inventory, and we want to do it, let's say by the period end. This is our period end. I can put that in my x-axis. You can see everything that I'm having right now. I'm having the day, the year, the quarter. Let's say I don't want the quarter. I can take the quarter out. You can see, and let's say I also don't want to be seeing the day, right? I also don't want to, because the day, let me show you what's happening here. Oh, this cannot be bigger, but we can do something right now. Let us assume that we want to, let's look at the city. Let's assume we want to filter all our pages by city. Let's just do that. Remember, we have different city. Filter on all pages. Okay, and you are interested in a particular city. I can say I'm interested in Seattle. Okay, Seattle right here. If I type Seattle right here, I can check this. You can see now that I'm only seeing Seattle right here. Okay, now I could also say I want to see, let's say we want to see by property type. I can say, let me collapse this. I can also filter on all pages. I can say I want to filter by property type. I also want to put a legend as property type. You can see I have property type. However, I want to only select condo, multifamily, single family, and townhouse. I'm not taking all residential into account right there. Okay, you can see what we are having right now, guys. Okay, I can also say, instead of this day, I can take that day out so that I can have this. You can see right here, guys. So I can say I have inventory for January of 2012, February, March, April, May. You know, you can slide all this way up to 2023. You can see the last data that we got was for August right here. We don't have for September yet, right? We only have for August right there. You can quickly take a look at what is happening. You can say, okay, what is happening in 2017? It seems that we have low inventory right there, and what we are doing right here, we are doing sum of inventory, right? And then you can see that which inventory are we having more? Single family house. You can see we are having single family house more in our inventory. Okay, I can come right here. And click this. Let me go to y-axis. I can say my values, instead of auto as display unit, I can say display it as thousands for me. Okay, I can do that if that's what I want. Okay, that means this 2000, 1500, that is one thing. But take note that this is just for Seattle right here. If you want every of the city, you can just, I click that just to clear the filter. I've cleared the filter right here, so I'm showing all the cities right here. If you like, you can go and check what happened in 2020. You can see, right? You can say, okay, inventory went down in 2020 when there was COVID, and by 2021 you can see it's even lower, right? And then now from 2022 around maybe around May, June, we started coming back up again, right? But now a little bit down. You can begin to see the trend. You can also begin to see right here that usually around November, December, I think we don't always have so much inventory. So probably, that tells us that probably people don't like to sell during that time. You always see that it goes down around November, December. Let's look at this. November, December, nobody wants to sell around that time. But around this time, which is around the summer time, I think this is summer, May, June, July, right? May, June, July, August, around this time you see that you have more. For each year you have more inventory. Okay, even in year 2023, 2021, you can see November, December, January is low. People don't like to sell at that point, right? That means that if you see some people that wants to sell, maybe they really need the money, all right? And maybe that's even a good time for you to be on the market and try to see if you can buy, but of course I'm not an expert right here, so I'm not advising anything, guys. Okay, but we are just trying to look at the data set right there. Okay, you can also play around with something else. We can also say, let us take a look at the sums of the homes that are being sold, so I can also come right here, click this again and say, okay, let us drag homes sold. Let us also do it by the period end. Let us do our city again. Let's just say Seattle. Let's just say Seattle again. Let's put Seattle right there. You can see what we are getting homes sold. You can also do this by the legend, the property type, legend property type. Okay, and as you know, we are only looking at this for condo, multifamily, single family residential, and townhouse. If you want to make it bigger, you can make it bigger right here. I can maybe take out quarter, day. Let's take a look at this. So some of them sold by year and property type. Let us let us come back right here and maybe let me put this back again. Period end. Yes, period end. Yeah, period end. Let's have this. So some of them sold by year, quarter, month. Let us take out the day. Let us take out the quarter. And then we can begin to see what happens in each year, in each month of each year, right? You can begin to see and begin to do different sort of, understanding analysis that will determine, when you want to buy, or is the market good or not. So guys, you can see that this is how you can begin to play around with this right here. Even if you want, you can you can do something like this. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. Undo. You can just click outside and do a line chart. If you want, you can say you want to look at the average of median sale price. Okay, you can say median sale price. You can put it right there, and then you can put your period, and but you can change this to average. You can, instead of saying sum of median sale price, you can do average median sale price, right? So you just need to come right here and change that and see what all this thing gives you. So you just need to play around with this right here, guys, this visualization, and make a dashboard out of that. Okay, so these are things that you can play around, and these are the things that happens in the real world, in the industry. All right, guys, it has been a long journey, guys, and I hope that I've been able to show you how you can create, let me bring it right here, how you can create a pipeline, in which case you can connect to Redfin data source, extract the data, put that in the raw data, transform it, put that in the transform data S3 bucket. okay, and then use Snowpipe to bring the data to load the data from S3 into Snowflake, and then connect a Power BI to that Snowflake. All these being done by Airflow that we installed in EC2. Okay, in another video I hope to have this project again, but then instead of using EC2, in which case we add our extra large EC2 because this file or this data is huge, what about if we try AWS EMR, Elastic MapReduce, and use PySpark to write the code and do all these things? Okay, that is another project that we can also try. Okay, and also as time goes on, I will start introducing you guys also to Azure Cloud, so get ready for that. Again guys, before I leave you here today, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead right now and subscribe to our channel, okay, and click on the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we release any of our videos. Also, do not forget to click that like button. As you know that the more people watch our video and the more people that like our video, the more we are going to be motivated to make more interesting and awesome videos for you guys, because that will tell us that a lot of people like our videos. Okay, and also the more you click that like button, the better we can be ranked by the YouTube algorithm. Okay, and also put your comment in the comment section below. Okay, and also if you have any question or if you have any request, if you have any video you want us to make for you guys, do not forget to ask that in the comment section below. Share this video with your friends, with your co-workers, with your teammates, with your friends and families. Okay, all right guys, one other thing is that all the commands that we use in this video and all the codes, I'm going to be putting everything in my GitHub. I'll put the link to my GitHub in the description below, and all the other links that I've shared with you in this video, I'll put them in the description below. Make sure you read the description below so you can get all those information. All right guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.